Alrighty! Welcome to the next game, playing the white Terran LsP, SooAh playing the green Zerg LsP WyVerN. Well, that was a quick game and WyVerN did a nice job by deciding on pool rush because they were next to each other, but well, SooAh didn't scout in time. I mean the Overlord, of course, didn't have enough time to get to the section of the map where WyVerN built that pool, so SooAh didn't see the pool, and he started with the hatchery. But I also have a feeling that he was a bit fast with the drones, and he pulled back too early from the sunkens, so those drones could have killed the sunkens of WyVerN. But anyway, that was a quick game, but was exciting. And I think SooAh is just happy now for this Terran. He doesn't like Zerg, so Terran is his middle race. He's best with Protoss, but of course he prefers Terran over Zerg. Opens up with 3 racks, so standard opening by there, just as with WyVerN, who is opening up with a choke. And scout is scouting starts now. SCV sent, and well, once he sees this choke, then probably he will switch to tanks. But he started his refinery, of course, so it's also a standard thing to do after 3 racks. But usually players, when they see the enemy being a Zerg, they open up with a factory. But SooAh, of course, doesn't know about the race of WyVerN yet, so he opened up with an academy. And this Marine will probably won't see. Yeah. I just didn't click on the right player. So wasn't able to allocate if WyVerN sold it Overlord, but wasn't able to allocate if SooAh saw that Overlord, but I think he didn't, so he is continuing on, pumping Marines, and right now saw that Zergling there, and WyVerN now sees SooAh being Terran. And he just added one more creep there, and probably will add an evolution chamber in front, just to be able to defend more, but he adds a new creep instead of that. Seems that SooAh will try this Merrick Medin push. He's not really rushing with the factory, but it seems he is adding a proxy factory right there, which is an interesting placement. Okay, well, alright, placing this factory there has advantages, has disadvantages. Advantages that, of course, being a proxy factory, so it's much closer to the base of WyVerN. Disadvantage, another advantage is that it's not, so it cannot be discovered fast, and also it won't be or cannot be attacked by surprise Zergling. So if WyVerN decides on mass lings, then of course he will have the chance to kill that factory if it was built here, because usually Terran players who open up with or go with proxy factories, they tend to build them there at the choke, close to the choke of the other player. And if the Zerg player goes on with the mass links, then of course they are in the way, so the links will attack them. But this factory here is hidden there. And the the disadvantage is basically, oh my god, alright, so he's trying this. He's coming in the Marines now and uses the medics, of course, to just heal those Marines with the steam. And Sunkens are going down. He is still having quite a few Marines there, so this might be a bit problematic for WyVerN. He will need to pray to gods that these Sunkens finish in time. And alright, they will finish in time, but the problem is that these Marines still mean a threat for him, as the medics are doing a nice job, and even though these Sunkens were ready, still enough Marines remained and they are able to attack them. So right now this game, alright, seems that this buyer push by SooAh will be enough to finish this game quite fast. He was able to break the choke, and WyVerN doesn't really have that much at home, so only one Sunken at the back. And problem is that Mutalisks are out, but he won't be able to make Guardians. If he micros them well, then he might snipe a few Marines, but problem is that these Marines are surrounded by these medics. And of course, steamed Marines can easily snipe those Mutalisks, who have to be controlled very well, so he cannot afford losing any Mutas while trying to attack. It's hard to do, but of course not impossible. Alright, SooAh is turning there and goes right down at the bottom of the map to fight these Sunkens. Greater Spire is on the way, but I don't think he'll have time. And he's losing a few Mutalisks there, so the control wasn't perfect. But right now these stray Marines were killed. And also, as the Sunken finishes, he has the confidence to attack the remaining Marines. So the game is not finished, but it's very hard now for WyVerN, as he only has 3 hatcheries altogether. So right now he's desperately rebuilding the choke. He needs some defense, and alright, to be honest, he's not in a very bad spot now, because he has Mutalisks. Although his economy is very low, now he has defense, he has a few Guardians prepared, so has some defense as well. But the problem is that SooAh, of course, is a bit ahead now, and he also has 2 extra command centers. He can prepare a few air units or make further raids against the Guardians, and once air is out by SooAh, then WyVerN will experience a harder time defending, because he will have to divide or split the Guardians and the Mutalisks. And by this I mean that he cannot make or shouldn't make newer Guardians from the existing Mutalisks, because the rates, of course, will kill them easily. Okay, so what he has to do now is survive and buy some time. Yeah, he needs some time now to be able to gather up more hatcheries and get his upgrades and tech up. Defilers play an important role in ZVT. Well, in most of the... so basically the Zergs can thank their victory over Terrans, generally speaking, to Defilers. So Defilers are the biggest threat for the Terran. It's very hard to fight Defilers as a Terran. And yeah, once Swarm is available, the game becomes very hard for the Terran. But it seems that WyVerN is not really going in that direction. He's just getting hatcheries, adding more drones, getting economy, and he's not really rushing anywhere. And basically he's happy about this situation, so he's totally fine with that. And I think SooAh just I think he took these few Mutalisks too seriously, and he closed in. Yeah, he closed in his base. He's adding turrets, has raids, so I think he's a bit scared, to be honest. But never mind. All right, better to be safe than sorry, they say. So yeah. This overlord is having a bad day, so... Alright, so he's just... he's really on the safe side. He's not rushing anywhere. He is adding more and more buildings and prepares for greater attack, while WyVerN is also building up. Okay, so Defiler Mound is started now. Well, it's looking good for him actually. So he's really adding newer hatcheries. He has defense at the choke. He's alright. No vessels are threatening his economy. So yeah, he's totally fine with this, and even these Devourers are now available. SooAh was a bit late with this attack, to be honest, and even though he has Goliaths, these Guardians are able to kill a few tanks, which is quite nice for WyVerN. Basically he just has to get rid of the tanks, because the Sunkens do the job against the Goliaths. Right, so one upgrade for SooAh available, and one attack upgrade for the air as regards WyVerN goals, and no upgrades for ground yet. So vessels are now incoming, and Scourge are a bit late, but of course SooAh is able to... Okay, alright, he didn't borrow the remaining drones. But still he managed to save... sorry, so I wanted to say WyVerN, yeah, he didn't borrow... Or did I say... Did I say WyVerN or SooAh? Okay, never mind. Anyway, the Zerg player, the green, you see here, this guy, borrowed his drones and managed to save a few of them. Meanwhile, this is happening on attack as so this attack is now stopped by SooAh. He's just gathering up on newer tanks and newer Goliaths. And WyVerN is adding newer drop defense here. Alright, these Guardians have an easy time killing those tanks until Goliaths arrive, and they are clearing this attack by WyVerN, so he should return his units. But he's occupied at home, of course. But still, I think, yeah, this was a nice trade for him, because he killed more tanks than Goliaths killed guardians, so this is nice for him, and also he is able to shoot these Goliaths from this section of the map. Yeah, SooAh is having too many SCVs on the gas and too many SCVs idle. Well, yeah, he can of course stock up on resources for the late game. It's fine, but this is not the phase of the game where you can sit back and wait. So this should be the phase where you should really attack and harass this other player. You cannot let them grow, and you will need supply for your army. But anyway, yeah, he seems that he's preparing for the late game, and Mass is up on resources. Lots of gas, lots of minerals. From this perspective, WyVerN is doing a better job. His economy is well, he needs more gas, but he's doing a nice job because he doesn't have overmins and overgas. But well, of course he's Zerg, and if he gets dropped, then it means he has, of course, lower amount of workers. But the Lurker and the Swarm arrives, which saves the day for him. Even though it's one Lurker, it's a psychological defense. So usually they say that, yeah, Terrans Terrans usually get scared when they see Lurkers under Swarm, even if they are just one or two Lurkers. So yeah, it's a psychological threat, let's see. I am saying this right now. This is a new term. Or phrase. Whatever, these tanks are having a hard time surviving the attack of the Guardians, and the Goliaths are not really helping as well. What are you doing, guys? You don't get your salary for this. Standing at the back and watching your peers die. Okay. So Lurkers under Swarm can only be killed by nukes, fire bats, SCVs, irradiates, splash damage. Well, and well, mines from vultures, but as you felt from my tone, these are not the best options. The best is the irradiate, of course. But you will need to have irradiates against Guardians, against the drones. So yeah, you have to economize your irradiates. So Valkyries arrive, and yep, they are of course the best option against Guardians. And basically it seems that WyVerN doesn't really have that huge amount of Devours, so these Valkyries with 2 attack upgrades can mean a big threat for WyVerN. Yep, these Guardians are absolutely going down. And new Verlings are produced. Basically they are produced continuously, so WyVerN is really trying to attack using the Lings, but he should also add a few Swarms to be more effective. Anyway, 2 upgrades available for him now as regards ground goes, and 2 upgrades for SooAh as well. There are still a few SCVs idle. And I mean, it's not the end of the world, but well, it will be nice just to utilize them and, you know, either use them to mine or send them to die to get free supplies. Because if you don't need them at all, then of course it will be better to take them there to die to free up supply. Alright, these guardians are really going down to this surprise attack. And for a moment it seemed like those Valkyries were red ones, and I was like, wait, so I was white at the beginning. So yeah, Plague worked out quite nicely. So one shot by the Hydras. Yep. Alright, so SooAh is maxed out now, but as I mentioned, he has too many workers. A few of them are idle as well, so his army is not that big. But it's still enough, of course. Lots of tanks in the background, so these ground units by WyVerN won't do that much. Actually, he will need more hatches. Yep, this is the next task for him as a Zerg, to build up, get more hatcheries, because from this many hatcheries he is not really able to replenish units effectively and fast. And SooAh's task is basically get more factories and more buildings, because so in general, if you are having over minerals or over mines, then it's advisable to at least then get mass buildings to be able to produce units fast. Yeah, these tanks on the ledge did a nice job for SooAh, but right now this is discovered by WyVerN, but he's not really able to utilize the Guardians as they went down to these Valkyries and the irradiates. Okay, so SooAh is just now really hunting for defilers. He really wants to get rid of the defilers, because otherwise he won't really be able to enter the base of WyVerN, who is protecting using these orange clouds. So after a time, Nuke might come into the picture. So Nuke is actually really effective against lurkers at the choke. But it seems that SooAh is able to advance now a bit, as Swarm is off. He's pulling those tanks, but the Lings arrive. There are still two tanks on the ledge, which provide SooAh a bit of an advantage, as these units trying to come outside basically get shot, and of course the HP is lower. But these tanks are now dying, so the way will be a bit more free for WyVerN. Yeah, I think he really struggles to get some more time. He just needs like seriously 5 minutes to be able to get some defense and add more hatcheries. But he's constantly attacked, and he's just trying to buy time. He's attacking, so he's basically trying to defend by attacking, and he wants to keep SooAh outside. He doesn't want him to really advance inside his base. Otherwise he won't have time to add more hatches. Alright, 3 upgrades for ground for SooAh and 2 upgrades for WyVerN. But his ground upgrades are almost ready. 3 to be exact. So it seems that he wasn't able to buy enough time, and these units by SooAh managed to enter the base of him. And Goliaths with upgrades are doing a nice job against the ground units of WyVerN. Well, he needs these guardians, but the problem is that Goliaths with range upgrades can easily smash those units. So Hydras and Lings will also be needed here if he wants to survive. Lots of tanks, lots of vessels are flooding his base, but he didn't really control those vessels there, so SooAh lost a few of them. But yeah, those irradiates will come really handy now. He lost a few vessels, so if he hadn't lost them, then he would have been able to cast more irradiates to the guardians. But well, this vessel here doesn't have any energy, and it also died. But WyVerN, of course, cannot relax, he cannot lay back. And finally a few SCVs arrive. The SCV there was it was sitting there so comfortably, like in a chair. So, but he started this missile turret right now, which will serve very well against Rookers and well, against Guardians not that much, but yep, against any air units it's fine. Just as a basic defense. So more and more turrets are started by SooAh, and it seems he won't need them because WyVerN taps out GG. Right, that's it, GG.